Hello, this is Tom Fredrickson with Montesano Today. We're going to continue our coverage of the recent ISIS terrorist link to sleepy little Montesano, Washington. And I'm going to preface this a little bit because we're getting some attention here at Montesano Today. If you're not from the local area and you're viewing this, we are a very small Norman Rockwell type of a town, 4,000 people, no large cities nearby, very quiet. Yet recently, let me backtrack a little bit because I want to lay some groundwork. This last Saturday, I'm doing this broadcast on a Tuesday afternoon. This last Saturday, the FBI and the Joint Terrorism Task Force swept into the area, into our little town of Montesano, and swooped up a jihadi. Guy who is professing his love for ISIS, if you're to believe the reports, which are appearing everywhere from the Seattle Times to the Washington Post, his quotes, that he pretty much wants to kill anybody who's not a Muslim. Now, this makes some people uncomfortable. This is a manifestation of the political climate that we're living in. Coming out of the Obama administration, federal agencies, they do not want terrorism on American soil, anything to do with it. We have a number of local officials that completely agree with that. We can't talk about terrorism because all Muslims aren't terrorists, so we'll just quietly, hopefully this goes away. And this is where it becomes dangerous. Saturday morning, they swooped this guy up, trying to buy street sweepers, AK-47s, big sting in the guy. Glocks, street sweepers. He wants to kill people in the name of ISIS. Sleepy little town. And yet not one local media agency was notified. Our local sheriff department, our local police department, our public officials, nobody. Nobody bothered to let the press know so that the people could become informed that this jihadi terrorist was snatched up and pulled out of the area. Now, why should they inform us? Well, for a variety of reasons. Number one, have you ever heard of any of these guys that work alone? How do we know? That it may be that he's working all by himself and there isn't a family member or a good friend or somebody he's working with at a mosque in and out of the area location like Olympia. How do we know that once this guy gets picked up, that doesn't trigger something else where these other guys associated with him, if there are any, decide, well, we're going to get caught, he's going to give us up, we might as well go out in a blaze of glory. Now, where are they going to go? If any of us were one of these jihadi terrorists, we would go where the people are. We'd want to go for the highest body count. Not my opinion, observable fact. Look at all these places that get hit. Look at what happened down in San Diego recently. Well, the guy's wife shooting out of the back of the car while he's being chased. They hardly ever act alone. You just can't take the chance these days. So this is what concerns me. I got wind of it Monday afternoon about 1 o'clock. So I did an initial posting, informed the local newspaper, and they go, oh, all of a sudden the local newspaper's posting something. How could our public officials allow themselves to be dictated to and duped into covering up a situation like this? I don't care what your reasons are. You do not have the authority to keep something like this from the people that elect you and put you in office just to make yourself feel good about your personal ideological beliefs. These are lives that we're talking about. Monday afternoon, after I find out, gather up my camera, huge tripods, lots of equipment, I head on up to the high school. Wonder if they're aware of it. Walk in, bunch of people at the counter, ladies who work there, students behind the desk, put all my stuff in the counter. First of all, how was I allowed to just walk in that school after this terrorist threat was picked up? Why wasn't this school put on some sort of security alert? Well, come to find out, they had no idea it ever even happened. So I have to ask you, what good is it to have these lockdown and emergency procedures in place that everybody's always screaming about if we're not going to inform the schools that something like this went on? Now, here's the bottom line to this. I'm going to do this one public official that I spoke with today off the record a favor by not mentioning their name, because they may want to have a political career. to where every time I brought this up, it was thrown back in my face, well, Christians kill people too. Christians, this is the mindset we're dealing with here, folks. Personal ideological beliefs trump security and safety. Now, who in their right mind has the right to withhold information like this from our school? Now, I spoke to the school district superintendent, Dan Winter. Came over, the principal of the school, or whoever it was hiding in his office, stuck his head out the window outside, trying to get me off the campus. So worried about me finding out information about that. And he told me he's trying to work with law enforcement to develop plans. Why weren't the schools put on, at least lock the front door? I mean, where do you think these guys are going to go? The first place they're going to go is a gun-free zone. Not, again, not opinion, observable fact. Who is giving the people, these elected officials of ours, the right to decide the safety of your children? I'll ask you parents here in Montesano. How many of you would have sent your kids to school Monday had you heard about this? Bet half of you wouldn't. And that's what they were afraid of. They would have lost some money. If the school... Well, first of all, the people I talked to at school, they didn't even know. They hadn't even heard about it. All right, so following up today on Tuesday, I talked and asked the county commissioner office commissioners for a response to this terrorist threat here in our city. Nothing but crickets. Yes, these are your county commissioners, nothing but crickets. I gave them a chance. 12 hours, or no, it was about 5 o'clock this morning, I started asking them and gave them till about 2, 3 this afternoon to give me a response. I wrote the chief of police here in Montesano. As of this writing, or this broadcast, haven't heard back. I wanted to ask him why the people here weren't told. He was certainly aware of the operation. I talked to the sheriff's department yesterday. They wouldn't say a word other than hand me a generic press release from the feds out of Seattle. Again, these are your elected officials, the people charged to keep you and your family safe. I wrote our mayor, Vinnie Samuel, our new mayor here in Montesano, who, to her credit, was the only one in the entire county who bothered to write me back. So I will read her response here to you, the citizens of Montesano. Dear Tom asked me for a response. Montesano will not tolerate terrorism or terrorist activity in any form from any source. While I was surprised at the lack of details shared initially, I understand the need for operational security until an arrest is made and the suspect is safe in custody. Completely agree. We are grateful for police work from a federal and local level. In this situation, it was a concerned citizen who reported suspicious comments to local law enforcement. It's true. If anyone notices such behavior that is unusual and suspicious, they should immediately report it to law enforcement. This incident occurred outside the city limits and is therefore out of our jurisdiction. The city defers to FBI. And she, of course, she's correct. But I want to go back to this one statement that Vinnie put in the letter. If you see something, say something. How do we know everybody that this chucklehead was associated with or talked to? Wouldn't it have been nice if our local police, our local county and civic leaders had come to a Saturday afternoon and said, okay, guys, we got one. This is his picture, this is his name, this is where he lived, 31-page indictment, we got him cold, dead to rights, big FBI sting. He's a jihadi terrorist living among you. Now, any of you that know anything, have you seen comings and goings, these strange cars? Call this number. This is not rocket science, but it wasn't done because it flies in the face of some liberals' personal ideology here in town and the Obama administration giving orders to the Justice Department and the FBI to quiet this thing up. Again, not opinion, this is observable fact. And I'll close this out with one more comment. Can you think of a bigger news story in the city of Montesano or Grays Harbor than a willing, open, jihadi terrorist gathering guns, street sweepers, Glocks, machine guns, for the sole express purpose of killing non-believers? His words. And you didn't hear about it. You had to hear about it through a blog like mine, which forced the other media to do something. Something is very, very wrong in our harbor, and very, very wrong with our media. For right now, extremely disappointed all the way around. This is Tom Fredrickson with Montesano Today.